Chat, I think there's something important that we should talk about today. And if you haven't seen it floating around for the last few days, it's this Twitch adpocalypse. And normally I don't like going near drama stuff because a lot of the stuff for this seemed drama related. I actually ended up watching Ludwig's video about it last night. And it was really, really good. This one, what happening to Twitch. And I was thinking about originally just doing a react to it as like my take on it. But things have seemed to have kind of progressed and changed. And there's a new article that came out. And I wanted to give the perspective as a streamer who's not like a top tier, like #1 big streamer. Like for my small section of Overwatch, I'm up towards the top. And to give you a brief idea, I even pulled my own Sully Gnome. And it's like without drops like normal days, like I'm getting around like 3,000, 2,000 viewers or so. And then once drops hit and there's like a brand new season or a big event, like with Overwatch Classic, here you can see I'm up to like the 14,000, which is actually higher than normal for these types of events. Normally it's around 10,000. So this event's actually gone absolutely bonkers. And I didn't think I was affected, which is funny because this is where my YouTube and TikTok really kick the fuck in. Because like most of my audience is older. Most creators are like this 13 to 17 range. And then maybe their second or #1 demographic is 18 to 25. My #1 demographic is actually 25 to 35, with like 18 to 25 being like 1 percentage point off. Actually, I think in the last year, it's kind of shifted back towards 18 to 25 by 1 percentage point, but it's always within like a percentage point or two. So I typically have a bit of an older audience. A lot of people work and they watch all my YouTube stuff. They watch all my TikTok stuff. Point is though, I wanted to give a little bit of framework before I go over this, because these events, these drop events are really important to me as a creator, because genuinely one big drop event can be like my entire month's income. And at the first day of the event, this past Tuesday, my stuff got updated and it looked normal. Everything looked normal. It looked great. I was like, wow, good. I'm not affected by the adpocalypse. This is great. But then all of the subsequent days, it's about 70% lower. And so what I hypothesized wasn't that the ads on Twitch are completely gone. Is actually there's much less. And so I had some people do a test for me and make new accounts, new browser, fresh account, and see how long it took them to run out of ads on Twitch. Because what was happening is they, instead of getting an ad, they get the screen that says ad break in progress. And it's a big blue screen instead of actually showing an ad. And they ran out really quickly. And the point of that being shown, it means Twitch has no ad to show them. So it's showing ads to people that are in chat that haven't seen the ads yet. But if you've already seen all of Twitch's ads for the day or for the month, that's it. You can't get anything else. Chat, if you get it, I'm gonna do something real quick. It might be a little bit evil. I'm gonna run an ad for you. If you get that, can you please screenshot it really quick and send it to me? Yo, Amity, actually, you were one of the people that I was having running a test. Do I have your results yet? But here you're seeing on screen, this is what I was talking about. It looks like this. And so in the top right, you'll see it's just me. It's just my channel. Sometimes you can turn on audio and you can still hear me, but you just get this, right? And normally you would just get an ad here, but they're not getting ads here. They're actually getting this commercial break in progress. And what I've hypothesized is that Twitch has run out of ads very quickly. And so we're gonna read this article in a minute to find more about it. I haven't read the article itself yet, but it says over 10 major companies have reported suspending advertising on Twitch over alleged anti-Semitism concerns. And Ludwig's video was really good about it. I'll give you a quick recap of basically what's happened. Last month, there was a lot of political drama that went down. There was the Asman ban, there was the Frogan ban. There was a lot of shit that kind of went down. And so that spooked a lot of advertisers because it doesn't happen right away. Because it happened in October, it then rolls into November. November being one of the biggest months for advertising is absolutely scary for a creator, because normally in December and November is when people start going really, really hard for their advertising budgets, because the way advertising works in the corporate world typically is if you don't spend it, then it's gone. They set that budget aside every year. They budget throughout the entire year, and then by the end of the year, they have a lot left over. Plus, they always typically spend more in Q4, so they dump that in there, and it does really, really well for creators because they spend more on YouTube and then Twitch, and they're trying to get more advertising eyes on out there on their product to sell more. And so what I found from my small tests that were done is I had a couple of viewers make brand new accounts on new browsers and whatnot. And one of the interesting ones we found was from an East Coast resident in the United States, made a brand new account, brand new browser, no cookies, never used Twitch on this browser. It took exactly on the dot 2 hours of getting ads granted, set to maximum, 2 hours of getting ads on Twitch to run out completely. Since then, they have not gotten a single ad since, and they've only gotten screens that look like this. Granted, again, it's 2 hours of max ads, which means it's ads every 8 minutes. Granted, that's a lot of ads. But if that is the whole month's budget worth of ads that they ran out in 2 hours, that's kind of a little concerning. I know that this is the problem because I do drop streams and I typically stream for about 18 hours of those, 18 to 20 to 24 hours on those days. And my revenue on my dashboard is about 70% of what I expected it to be. Actually, even probably less than that because I was going off my previous months of drops, and this month has actually been even better because it's a really good skin and it's also Overwatch Classic. So the people that are getting hurt by this the most are probably going to be those 100 viewer to 500 viewer, maybe 1,000 viewer streamers, because they have come to start relying on that ad revenue a lot. Those big 20K, 30K, 40K plus streamers are not going to be affected by it nearly as bad. Yes, of course, they're going to be losing a ton of money, but there's a difference though between if somebody makes, let's say if someone makes $2,000 a month instead of $3,000 a month, that is a much bigger deal than someone making $200,000 for a month as opposed to $400,000 for a month. Yes, that's a massive fucking drop from $400,000 to $200,000, but when you're at that, when you're making that much money, it's not like you're really concerned about bills. It's more of like, when's the next supercar, right? So it's a little bit different. So I wanted to read this article really quick. I haven't read it at all. This is from Richard Lewis, and it says, exclusive, key advertisers pause spending over Twitch anti-Semitism. There's been a lot of allegations running around that Dan Clancy, the CEO of Twitch, hasn't been moderating or banning people properly and has been playing favorites and whatnot. Also, my mistake. I should have done this really quick. I'm gonna yoink this really quick just from Ludwig's video. When I talked about the 200K thing, the reason I brought that up was because in his actual video, he shows these. Wait, nope, it's not this one. He shows these screenshots from some of the people out of FaZe who leaked their subathon numbers. And so this is literally 1 month of revenue. That's 500,000. This one's 1.2 million. And then he was also comparing to Lacey, who has less subs on average than the rest of them, but actually was making just as much, if not more. Although this number was probably inspect elemented, because you can see how much the purple is in these graphs. And I can tell you from myself that I don't have numbers like this, of course not, but like, my purple starts to look like this during drops. Like normally it doesn't, like mine looks more like this, if anything. Actually, that's kind of a stretch. But mine's much more of like these deep purples because it's mostly subs and bits and whatnot. And then you have a little bit of ads on top. But then once you get into the really high viewership, that's when you start seeing these graphs. So that's why I used the example, by the way, of 200K versus 400K and $3,000 versus $2,000. Because like once you get to that really top level, yeah, they're making a ton less money because like the ads aren't going to be paying very much. But that's not actually who's really affected. It's the people that are like 100 viewers to 500 viewers that are going to get hit the hardest. Even up to 1,000 viewers, especially if like a younger audience. If you have a younger audience who doesn't really sub very much, even if you pull like 1,000 viewers or so, you're going to be taking a big hit to your revenue, especially in a time of year when normally you're expecting it to be higher because your January is much lower. So let's read. According to sources familiar with the business dealings of Twitch, a number of significant companies have paused their advertising spending with the streaming platform. The meetings were said to come as a direct result of allegations of Semitism and featured representatives of the concerned companies and Twitch's executives and Amazon's executives. Twitch has been featured heavily in a slew of negative headlines around the lenient moderation of alleged anti-Semitism that was compounded when it was revealed that the company has had geo-banned signups from Israel following the attack on October 7th by Hamas. Twitch explained this error by stating they had temporarily disabled sign-up emails with email verification in Israel and Palestine in order to prevent uploads of graphic material related to the attack and to protect the safety of its users. Similar measures were not and have not been taken in a number of other regions affected by global conflict, most notably Ukraine following its invasion by Russia. Ooh. That's pretty heavy. Also, my brain's jumping all over the place. The reason I shouldn't have probably told you my theory now is because I also saw this tweet. I'm talking about tags. If you removed some of the tags and your ad revenue went back up, I think this is only a short spike. This is only going to be for a very limited amount of time. But I'll come back to that in a minute. I kind of forgot. In the aftermath of reporting, Twitch found it's under public pressure to take action against the alleged rise of anti-Semitism on its platform. The Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, posted a statement on X that was the following. I remember this tweet. Twitch must learn from this situation and improve how they addressed anti-Semitism and hate on the platform, which is an ongoing and significant challenge. We encourage Twitch to take meaningful action, such as collaborating with the platform's Jewish community, providing staff, streamers, and moderators with anti-Semitism training, and updating how they review programming for their live events. We will encourage or continue to engage with the company to ensure the platform is safe, respectable, and inclusive space for all. We will also continue to hold them accountable when they fail in that responsibility. Before I read any further, I just want to say this is not a specific issue just to anti-Semitism with Twitch. This is Twitch, period, for years. It's always been like this. Twitch has been awful with its moderation tools and awful with its, because it has two functions. It either does nothing or it bans people. And that line between the two of them is blurred. Some people get banned for shit that other people don't. You know what's one of the big ones that always I look back at and I go, why the fuck is it like that? I remember like 2 years ago when before Kick popped off, there was the whole gambling thing on Twitch, and like XQC was like the number one guy for the gambling stuff. Everyone went after XQC for gambling, which granted, I don't do gambling. I don't like gambling. It's especially promoting it. I'm not a fan of it. I think it's bad. But everyone went after him really, really hard for it. And I think he got banned for it, actually. Or at least you kind of forced him to stop doing it, at least in the US, and then he like went to Canada or something. But then after it was over, gambling on Twitch is still there. Like there's a whole ass category of it. It's still there. It's not gone. I think I could go look right now and I could probably find it. It's still, it's got a whole ass category. It's got 20,000 viewers for it. Oh, people stopped caring, so they moved on. That's how Twitch is. Like they only care about whatever's in front of them. And so Ludwig proposed this in his video, and I thought it was a good idea. Was basically when you go live, although to be fair, the YouTube system is definitely kind of annoying. It's like you either choose to enable ads on your platform for that day, or say like, oh hey, we're going to be doing some stuff that's like political or stuff that's gambling or something like that. It's like they're going to turn off ads, and that way it doesn't screw everyone else. But yeah, this has been a big problem. This has been a problem for forever, and it's not just with this. All of Twitch's moderation tools have been terrible for years. It's always been like that, and they're finally catching some heat from it, and they should have been making this better for a long time. Let's continue. As part of this response from the aforementioned meetings, assuaged concerns that the companies could continue to advertise on Twitch or the Twitch platform and not have their ads be placed adjacent to content that was deemed anti-Semitic or in other ways hateful. While Twitch did outline a plan to combat this potential issue, responses to the meeting provided to this publication show that Twitch downplayed the severity of the allegations. In the aftermath of the meetings, this publication was also shown communications that states several Amazon executives are not in agreement with this assessment provided by Twitch. Oh my goodness. Literally, me and Boger talked about this last night. One stated that they felt that the Twitch executive body were not showing sufficient concern and described Dan Clancy's response as being significantly inadequate. Holy shit. Chat, I don't think you understand. That is actually huge. So a couple nights ago, or literally last night, me and Boger were playing some Overwatch. Or sorry, not last night, the night before. And we literally were talking about how big bad Amazon's gonna come fucking storming into the room soon, right? Like it's gonna happen. Mommy and daddy Amazon are like the dads and mom and dad that send them off to boarding school, and they have tons of money and they don't actually give a fuck. They just fund everything they're doing. They're like, yeah, just don't be a fuck up. Go stay over there. But then like they start fucking up and the school's got to call them and they have to come show up. They're gonna be mad. Can you dumb down the corpus speak for us old people? Significantly inadequate in corpus speak is you're a fucking idiot. You suck balls at your job. Calling the CEO of the company that you own from okay, That's like a higher, like they are the number one of this company, and you own the company above them, and you look down to them, be like, hey guys, what's going on down there? And they answer you, and their answer is that, and you go, that answer is significantly inadequate. Means you are fucking up to the nth degree. That is actual corporate speak for you are fucking around. You're about to find out. A list of companies and agencies that paused their spending, which was provided under the assurances it would not be published publicly, showed 11 corporations and agencies that represented multiple companies. One source added that while they had heard public claims of high volumes of advertisers withdrawing spending, they said a fair characterization of the response would be limited but not insignificant. So basically what they're saying is like, they're not everyone's leaving. Like they're still there, but it's a lot less, which is kind of close to what I was just saying. Like I don't like ads on Twitch are not gone. It's just significantly lower and there's less of them, which means that if streamers are running more than a few ads, like an hour, like if they're running more than say 6 minutes of ads an hour over the span of, okay, if it was at 6 minutes of ads an hour, what would that math be? I think it's like, if as long as they don't stream more than 8 hours, then they'll probably still be fine with ads. But if they're running 9 minutes or 12 minutes or 15 minutes, right? Like they're going to run out within like 2-3 hours, which has not happened historically. Like Twitch has had all the ads in the world to show you. So that's a separate source with knowledge of the meetings was able to confirm that one of the upset advertisers was the American multinational energy corporation Chevron. Okay, I gotta show you. I'm gonna yoink this from Ludwig's video really quick again. I can show you the exact reason why they're pissed. So this was one of the bands that came down. This was from a Twitch panel, and that is Chevron's logo in the background because this was an event at Twitch. And they ended up getting banned over this event, and that's their logo right there on the backdrop. An event that they obviously didn't want to be a part of, or didn't like. It's okay. It's a little different. For example, I'll give you an example from myself. Right, YouTube sometimes a fucking moron. Right, YouTube loves to take your money. I have had in the past people tell me that, like, for example, they have gotten a literal ad on YouTube for cheats, like for cheating, right, for cheaters stuff. Which is very ironic because sometimes my Overwatch content involves spectating cheaters, right? YouTube, though, sometimes just misses shit and then they'll deal with it later. So, but it's different though, because I don't control that. And it's the ad on top of the video, right? It's like, it's a little different, right? Like that's one thing. It's like, okay, you know, YouTube, hey, let's not fuck it up here. Let's be careful, right? But the problem is it was integrated into the content on the backdrop. The backdrops, if you don't know about Corpa, backdrops are a very big deal in Corpa land. Like when I used to do Overwatch League stuff, I had to get backdrops like sometimes redone just because like the corporate logo was too close to someone else's logo. And I wasn't the designer. I was just the guy in the middle who just order shit. Like I remember having to be, hang on, I wasn't even the guy who ordered shit. I was the guy in the middle who would grab it from the executive who talked to the ad guy. And then I would have to go back to the guy who made it and designer and say, hey, we need this stuff changed. And then I would go to the person who orders shit. Like I was the one who would coordinate all of that stuff, right? And I remember having to redo shit because the advertiser was like, yeah, we're like 3 inches too close to the right on this one right here. We need that moved over. And we'd have to get the whole thing remade, right? I was the messenger. It's very important in corporate land, especially. Capital middle manager. I wish, dude. I was getting $15 an hour. Regardless, though, this is a big deal. In recent years, the company has not only spent money to be advertised through Twitch initiatives, but has also sponsored esports teams. The source claimed that IRE was triggered once a clip of streamers rating their content creators from Arab to loves Sabra went viral with their logo prominently displayed in the background, which is what I just showed you. Chevron has undertaken a number of projects in Israel to help expand the country's infrastructure and energy independency. After the clip from the panel went viral, Chevron was very angry. One Twitch employee explained having their logo in the background of a clip being used as an example of anti-Semitism prompted some very awkward conversations. I hadn't even got to this part yet, chat. That's why, like, what I'm telling you, my own personal experience before I even read this, that's why, like, they're going to match up. Like, it's going to be the same everywhere. The same source also confirmed that the timing has not been great for Twitch, as they were already under pressure to hit deliverables for advertising on the platform. The measures taken to ensure that ads aren't served right next to hateful content are going to make it harder to hit targets, they elaborated. While they added that Twitch downplayed the concerns in the meetings afterwards, their plan of action was to create a new labeling system for content that might be inappropriate for advertisers. This is going to be the tabs part, or the tags. The politics and sensitive issues tag not only allows viewers to opt out of seeing the content with that label, but it also allows for brands and advertisers to opt out of having their ads run on channels that contain content of this nature. While this has been deemed sufficient for some of the companies that initially had reservations that have been deemed insufficient and their spending teams pause, or sorry, I might have misread that. While this has been deemed sufficient for some of the companies that initially had reservations, others have deemed this insufficient and their spending remains paused. So I understand why they'd be hesitant still, because there's a few things that I think of immediately is, how is the system enforced? Is it just a good boy honor system, right? It seems almost like back in the day, YouTube's Adpocalypse, and Twitch, again, only has 2 buttons. It has 2 levers, ban and unban. I don't know almost anybody who gets like ads limited. I've only heard of very few creators. Like, I think like Amaranth got it specifically. They've like very specifically target like 1 or 2 people. There needs to be a system for Twitch where either they can like willingly opt into saying, hey, like, you know, I shouldn't have ads on this piece of content, and turn it off. And if they're not using that and it's like they're not deemed trustworthy by the system, then it has to reflect that in some way. There has to be consequences other than just banning, because you can't just ban, because like the content's not even sometimes like ban worthy, but it's like not something suited for advertisers. So it's a good middle ground. They don't have that. Some see it as covering up the problem rather than addressing it, the source added. And so they're not coming back to the platform until something more direct happens. Yep, because people want to see consequences for actions. This initial measure has been compared to the same way YouTube dealt with a similar should just finish reading the article. Advertiser boycott in 2017 that was prompted by an advertising executive, Eric Feinberg, using a machine learning tool to locate when ads are being ran on extremist content. So I learned this from the Ludwig video. Basically, if you don't know what happened back then, YouTube was found to have videos that were like basically like terrorist trading content, like legitimately. And they'd have ads on those videos because it was a good boy system where YouTube would come and go, hey, are you putting content out that I wouldn't like to see? And you would go, no. And they go, okay. And they'd move on. Like, they just wouldn't check. So YouTube had to learn from that and be like, okay, we have to make sure that there's a bot that's checking all that stuff. Not perfect, of course, but in the aftermath, YouTube created a more stringent advertising system where content was scanned for anything deemed inappropriate and automatically prevented from displaying advertisement on that content. This subsequent drop in revenue was deemed the Adpocalypse and was heavily criticized by many in the YouTube community that were affected despite their content not being comparable to those which triggered the original advertisers' withdrawal. While it isn't clear how much of an impact these changes will have to the amount of revenue Twitch streamers can generate, there is likely to be some short-term losses while the systems are being implemented and banned. So I can actually sort of answer that question at the end. But before that, I also saw this clip as I was about to open up this segment. I haven't watched this clip yet, but I saw a clip from this person before talking about the ad stuff like a few days ago. And it says, interesting, once the Stock Guy TV removed the election tag from his stream, his ad revenue returned to subsequent stream. He says there is no adpocalypse. It does suggest Twitch opted to remove ads from anything politically related. I don't think this is technically true. There's definitely less ads available, but let's watch the clip and then I will give you my perspective.
I went to my tags, and my tags were, my normal tags. But I had a tag that said election because I had covered the market's reaction to the election. Not politics, not personal politics, not policy, just the market's reaction. And so Friday before stream, I decided to take that tag off. I took off veteran as well, just in case. And guess what? It came back.
But here's the deal, though. And I'm not saying this is them. I'm saying to the original tweet, the Adpocalypse is definitely still a thing. The tag is what suppressed this. That's why it's this. The tag is what did this specifically. But the reason why these won't go higher, and as the month goes on, they're probably going to drop, is what I'm going to talk about.
There's not a fucking adpocalypse. I never said there was an adpocalypse.
There is.
I said that I'm being affected by other people's shit. And so what did I do? I took off the election tag, and guess what happened?
Yep.
My money came back. So sorry, drama frogs who were like, this is an adpocalypse. No, it's not.
There is.
It's not.
There absolutely is.
It is a advertising thing that is happening with a specific subset on the platform, and I took it off, and guess what? I'm back.
So the reason why there is an adpocalypse is you're not going to see it here. And it also depends on how many ads you're running, is that there is significantly less ads definitely on the platform. And I can tell you, as somebody who's streamed a lot the last few days, and I mean like a lot of fucking hours. Wait, where's my hours streamed? Oh, stream length. Here it is. I see it. 19 hours, 10 hours. Oh yeah, my internet died that night. 18 hours, 14 hours, 15 hours, and then I'm live like right now. And it says -0.1. That looks good. So as somebody who's streamed a lot of hours this week, I have tons of viewers that are getting this. And so I run a significantly increased amount of ads during those drops periods because I'm streaming overnight. And so a lot of people leave my chat and my stream open overnight and just leave the computer on to farm their drops. So they farm their drops with me. I farm ads off of them. That's just how drop streams kind of go. If you've been streaming or following streaming at all for years, that's kind of how it's always been. And this screen is showing up much, much more. And the reason why this screen is showing up more is because they're running out of ads. And so if they're running out of ads this quickly, and what I mean by this quickly is I am not going to show you my dashboard, but I will tell you that there is a massive, massive, massive drop. I'm about to show you the difference between day 1, day 2, and day 3. This is the difference. This one and this one are the most fair comparison because I streamed 19, almost 20 hours, and I streamed 18 and a half, almost 19 hours. These two are probably the fairest comparison between the two. And the viewership is close to the same. Were you not a gameplay streamer? What are you talking about? I've been just streaming Overwatch the entire time. I've been in the Overwatch category the entire time, with the only tags being English and drops enabled. That's it. Normally, for drops, it will start high and then it will slowly come down. Because of the adpocalypse, it just goes zoom. And this day, and I didn't actually screenshot it, but the 2 subsequent days are all the exact same. It has just dropped off a cliff and the viewership is similar. Point is, there is definitely less advertisers on the platform. But I think as long as you run maybe ads once every 30 minutes or less, and if you don't stream a ridiculous amount of hours, you actually will probably be okay. But I think once you get towards the upper end of running ads, that's when you're going to run into problems. Say it's not world-ending bad, but there is absolutely a big drop. So, and how many advertisers are there? And I think my prediction is if people don't see any issues now, they will start to see it towards the end of the month, specifically. And that will, unless it changes for December, it'll probably roll into December as well. So